Got a fun little video coming up here. First, I just want to say thank you to all my subscribers. You guys keep me going. Um, these videos that I'm showing you here is from my old shop, most of it, and you can see that I'm at two different shops throughout the course of the video. Like this carving here, this was over 12 years ago that I did this in that little shop. This here carving of the fisherman is something, it's a subject matter that I really like working on. More human, it's less traditional chainsaw carving related stuff. This is more my sculpture background. This was a fun project, so you're going to see the fisherman and the other part, which was the actual fish on the other end. It was a bench. We're going to get into also at the current shop I'm at. I have a video that I started a couple years ago on whittling, making whittling knives, and like going way back when I was a little kid, 10 years old, trying to make knives, and I could never succeed. It took me till I was in my early 20s to actually understand fully how to make a good carving knife. So that's kind of fun going way back when. To touch base on all that stuff. Hey everyone, fun little thing we're going to do here. I'm going to make myself a whittling knife. I used to hand carve a lot. This is actually hand carved. I carved this out with a hatchet and a gouge that you hit with a mallet. That's kind of my roots for wood carving. I was doing a lot of big stuff. You can see the hatchet marks in it, which is kind of cool. I used to try to do a lot of big stuff with just hand tools back in the day. I really like chiseling. So doing something a bit different from chainsaw carving. This little knife is pretty sharp. I got it at a yard sale. First thing that I look for is the old pearl handles. They tend to have the best blades for this type of thing. Real hard metal, older, real hard steel. This one's really sharp. It's already really sharp. I just want to I want to modify it. I could actually carve with this knife. Just as it is, but it's always good to actually take the tip down this way, get rid of the beveled rounded part. So I'm just going to do that to both of these so that I have a long one and a short one. Colonial something, I don't know, but yeah, real good steel, real sharp edge on this knife. See it will carve, it will cut, and hopefully I'm going to get back more into hand carving, so I can show you guys more of the roots of what I learned and how I learned. See, a little bit flatter blade, what that's going to allow me to do is to kind of go in and gouge. And I have to get rid of the bluing on this where it overheated a little bit. I use a random orbit sander for that. When it overheats, it softens that part of the blade. It distempers it. But as I'm carving, I often will use the gouge technique. And this is locust. I mean, this thing is just digging right into a piece of old hard locust. So I show you how good these blades are. And this is the purpose of the shorter blade. You see how I get right up on top of the blade with my finger. I leave the longer blade in case I need that length for something. But as far as the actual carving part goes, you want to be right on top of the blade. And this is how you don't hurt yourself when you're carving. I'm going to go through all the principles of carving wood. Actually, what you're doing when you're whittling or carving is you're cutting the grain. You're cutting across the grain and you're cutting into the grain. You're combing over the grain. You don't want to go against the grain. Because it'll split, and you don't want to force things. You don't want to have a lot of force on things. But see, that works pretty good as a whittling knife. I'd like a little bit more of a flat point on it. I don't know if you see, there's just a tiny bit of a curve on it still. I like it so it's direct. So I'm going to take a little bit more off. Just want to make sure that I did not leave a burr on the end of that tip. And see there, it's flatter. It's already going to be a lot quicker. And for me, the whole curve from here down to there means everything in how this blade feels and performs. I don't know why exactly, but sometimes I would prefer like a lower, more tapered or less tapered point, rounded point. I round the tops of all my blades because I put my finger there and it's just more comfortable. But sometimes if you come flatter down, like a tighter radius, it actually makes the tip, it feels like it makes the tip stronger, and more more agile, more versatile, more steerable in the wood. But there's different, I mean, through my carving career, I've used I've used X-Acto knives before for carving, for whittling, and that works just fine. It's all a matter of approach, really. But you see that cut about as deep, a little bit smaller, but a lot less effort because I flattened that blade out. So there's one. Now we're going to I'm trying to open it with gloves here. My hands are kind of shot from masonry. They hurt all the time. My fingers hurt all the time. My nails hurt all the time. And see, I got this for $10, so you know, it's one of those things that I'll pick up at a yard sale if I see them. You can get them cheaper. I have quite a few, I'm just not sure where they all went to. Okay, so this one is a little bit, this one's a little bit lower angle, a little bit less radius to it. I'm gonna feel that out and see how I like it. Now the sweep of this blade goes way back, and I don't know if I want to keep taking off blades, so I might just put up with this little bit of angle. You see it's rounded. Might be fine. I like it flatter, but I can tune that as I sharpen it over the years. Over time I can make that work for me, but you know, if the knife feels good, if it feels like it's cutting well, I'm gonna leave it for now because I don't want to lose too much of the blade. It is good metal, I don't want to waste it, and over the years as I sharpen it, it's going to get shorter. So this one definitely cuts really well. And the thing about that finer point, just like with a chainsaw carving bar, the narrower you make the top of that tip, the more squirrely, the less straight it's going to want to go. So it's good to have one of these jackknives with two blades in it, and then you can have one that's more pointy, you can have one that's less pointy. Now I have made, and I do have somewhere, the other reason I leave the top is because I want to be able to pull it out, but I have wooden handled knives that I've made where the top of the blade is straight, pretty much straight to the tip, and then I have ones that go straight and then like a straight angle just to angle off the end to go down. I've played around with a lot of different things, but yeah, there's my little whittling knife, and I mean it cuts hard locust. That's hard, rock hard locust. Cuts it really well. So now I'm excited to get into some softer, faster woods. Maybe I'll just carve locust for a while though. But yeah, it's that simple. You want to make yourselves a little carving kit. There's our little garage find, and see, the flat part of this bigger blade is very handy. It's not as sharp as I want it. I can get it sharper, and I will. I mean, this is just a little pine wood dowel rod. I like taking dowel rod and cutting it up, and you know, making little carving sticks with it, because this way I can sit at home and I can carve. That longer one just isn't, the flat part isn't as sharp as I'd like, so that's why I'm switching out. Neither one of these actually is as sharp as I'd like them to be. I can, you know, I will hone that. I mean, they still do the job. It just takes a little bit more effort. The point, they cut great off the point though, and it's because it's a harder metal. And we're just making a couple little chain links just like that bigger one I showed you. And we'll probably, it's starting to get dark and colder here. I'll probably just take this home and finish it, because I like to have them at home. That's how you start your chain links. You saw the video where I had the chainsaw and I was doing my chain links. And you just come in and you trace out. This is why the points are good here. And it's all strategic. It's also you don't cut yourself. I mean, I could do this barehanded if my hands didn't hurt. That's the whole point of this. Every time you make a cut, try to make that cut so that you're not going to cut yourself. You see, I'm coming out of the wood, and I'm stopping before I hit my thumb, because as I hit my thumb, I'm slowed down. If that makes any sense. You're still gonna get nicks. You're still gonna get little scrapes and bumps here and there. Just like chainsaw carving, you're gonna get a piece of wood that flies off and hits you in the face. You're still gonna have things happen, but it's a matter of reducing the amount of exposure to those things happening and being not so fun. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. Really glad I did this. And there too, there's always an X-Acto knife that I could use for this. And X-Acto knives, the great thing about them is they're cheap and they're always sharp. They're always super sharp. The thing about this, your typical carving blade on a knife is wider, really wide on the top, which this is, and that's why I like these older jackknives. And then it's really narrow down here. The advantage with an X-Acto knife, though, is that it's just a flat blade, and then it has the taper for the razor part. And they're, like I said, they're cheap. They're mass produced, so you can buy boxes of blades, and you know, as soon as you're not happy with the way that your blade feels, you just change it out, and you still get the same exact feel. You still get the same exact cut. As a kid, I collected X-Acto knives. I was so into hobby and craft stuff, but I never did hobbies and crafts, but I was into the tools. I was into having tons and tons of X-Acto knives. And like, I always wanted to get into model building, but then I always got bored with it. And I'd go to, you know, family's house, adults who were, you know, big model enthusiasts. And I was fascinated by it. I wanted to do what they were doing, but I could never sit long enough to do it. So eventually I started carving stuff, and I was like, wow. Like, first thing I carved, I think I was, maybe 8 years old, 9 years old, I carved a knife handle, and I took a jackknife apart, um, and I tried to make my own knife. And then I tried carving with it, and I mean, it took me until I was in my teenage years that I realized what an actual whittling knife, an actual carving knife, you want the flat blade. All right, well, we're going to end the video here. We'll be touching base more on this subject in the future. Thanks for hanging out and watching, guys. It's been fun. These knives were pretty sharp, not super sharp. I made the mistake saying that. They're pretty sharp. They need more touching up.